This is the Microschool Minute, your weekly dose of microschooling news and events.
In this week's edition of the Microschool Minute, Wyoming Governor Mark Gordon celebrated a milestone moment for school choice this week, signing the Universal School Voucher Bill into law. The Steamboat Legacy Scholarship Act offers families up to $7,000 per child annually to cover non-public education costs, including tuition and tutoring. While the legislation makes Wyoming a leader in school choice, it has sparked controversy, with critics raising constitutional concerns and fears about its impact on public school funding. Microschools stand to benefit immensely from this universal voucher system, providing personalized education aligned with family values and needs. However, challenges remain, including navigating new regulations and ensuring these funds are used effectively. As Wyoming joins a growing national trend of education reform, the conversation about school choice and its impact on public and private education continues to evolve. For families and educators, the bill opens the door to reimagining K-12 education, with microschools leading the charge in offering these student-centered alternatives. Microschools have emerged as a growing beacon of educational innovation, especially during the COVID-19 lockdowns, when the gaps in traditional schooling were made more apparent. Microschools, often run by parents or communities, provide small, flexible learning environments tailored to children's needs. However, in Iowa, parents face legal consequences, jail time, or even fines when teaching more than 4 unrelated children in a homeschool environment. This restriction, added to the Iowa Code in 2013, has stifled creativity and options for families seeking alternatives to public school systems. Teachers' unions and lobbyists like Melissa Peterson and Margaret Buckton argue that parents lack the training to teach groups of unrelated children, portraying these grassroots efforts as risky or unsafe. Yet, public school scandals and arrests in Iowa cast doubt on such claims, leaving parents frustrated by the system's stance. Microschooling fights against these barriers, advocating for parents' rights under the First and 14th Amendments to direct their children's education. Successful examples from Florida, Georgia, Utah, and other states show how supportive legislation can empower parents while improving educational outcomes. House File 88 and Senate File 204 offer a chance for Iowa to follow suit, removing the 4-student limit and allowing parents to receive compensation for their teaching efforts. This movement isn't about undermining public schools, it's about giving families the freedom to choose what's best for their children. Letting parents innovate and lead without fear of prosecution is a step toward a brighter future for education in Iowa. In spite of recent challenges, school choice continues to expand, and it's a win for families everywhere, or so it seems. Across the United States, new programs are giving parents the freedom to choose where and how their children learn. But there's a catch. Microschools, some of the most exciting and innovative educational environments today, are being left out of the equation more often than not. Why? Well, data from the National Microschooling Center suggests blame falls on outdated policies that have failed to keep up with the pace of sweeping funding changes that are taking the nation by storm. Educational freedom, as envisioned by Nobel Prize-winning economist Milton Friedman, should create an open market where there would be a wide variety of schools. He believed that in a truly competitive system, educational innovations that we can't even imagine would emerge. Microschools are that innovation. Yet millions of families are blocked from accessing these small, personalized learning communities. Here's the reality. Microschools already serve over 1 million children nationwide, offering tailored education that traditional schools just can't always deliver. But because most school choice programs were designed decades ago for large public schools, microschools are often excluded from funding streams or buried under regulations. This gap isn't just a technicality, it's a missed opportunity. Families deserve all education options on the table, especially the ones driving the future of learning. Recent news from South Dakota further underscores the importance of state-supported education initiatives. The South Dakota Senate Education Committee's decision to reject a proposed subsidy reduction ensures that students can continue benefiting from the dual credit program at an affordable cost. Dual enrollment allows juniors and seniors to earn both high school and college credits at a reduced rate, making higher education more accessible. Without this subsidy, the financial burden on families would have increased, potentially limiting participation. The committee's decision also highlights the value of preparing students for college success and graduation in 4 years or less. This decision resonates with the ethos of microschools, which emphasize personalized, affordable, and accessible education. Microschools often rely on programs like these to enhance their offerings, blending innovative teaching with cost-effective college preparation. By maintaining dual credit subsidies, South Dakota not only supports traditional schools, but also empowers alternative education models, ensuring that students across various learning environments have equal opportunities to thrive. What happens when lawmakers decide to champion educational innovation instead of obstructing it? States like Georgia and Utah have made it a priority to answer that question, proving that reducing regulatory barriers can open the doors to transformative change in education. Take Georgia, for example. When burdensome fire code requirements threatened to shut down a church-based microschool, the state legislature stepped in. Thanks to a new law, this school and others like it were able to remain open without unnecessary upgrades that didn't align with its smaller scale. This common sense adjustment kept kids learning while giving parents peace of mind. Meanwhile, in Utah, microschools are treated like other small businesses if they operate in commercial spaces. This means no more worrying about square footage rules or bizarre restrictions tied to neighboring businesses. Parents empowered to decide what's best for their children are fueling Utah's microschool boom. One notable success story, a microschool in a strip mall that's thriving, providing students with personalized education in a space that was once off limits. These changes aren't just heartwarming, they're effective. Lawmakers in both states have demonstrated that small tweaks to outdated systems can yield big results. And microschools in these areas report higher engagement, greater parent satisfaction, and significantly reduced overhead costs that make tuition more accessible. Here's what you can do to help replicate this success in your area. Number 1, find out if your state lawmakers are addressing education reform. If they're not, ask them why. Number 2, you can share stories like those from Georgia and Utah with your local representatives. Real-life examples can help to spark real change. And last, be sure to spread the word. The more parents who demand choice, the faster progress happens. Microschools prove that when barriers fall, possibilities rise. So let's keep the momentum going. A recent survey by the Texas Southern University's Barbara Jordan Public Policy Research and Survey Center reveals that 63% of registered voters in Texas, including 69% of African American respondents, support the creation of the state's first education savings account program. This initiative would allocate up to $10,000 for students to attend schools of their choice, enabling parents to explore alternatives such as microschools. Microschools align seamlessly with the goals of Texas ESAs, addressing public dissatisfaction with traditional K-12 schools and offering underserved communities a tailored approach to education. As the Texas legislature moves to advance ESA legislation, the pilot program's $1 billion budget could be a game changer for families seeking innovative schooling options, and would set a national milestone for such funding commitments to date. Microschools in particular present a unique solution to the challenges raised in the survey, such as inadequate workforce preparation and the need for equitable opportunities. With broad bipartisan support and strong backing from Governor Abbott, the ESA program has the potential to diversify Texas's educational landscape, empowering families and fostering a new era of school choice and innovation. It's clear that United States public education is undergoing substantial shifts. The demographic decline in school-age children, coupled with rising costs and questions over funding priority, has sparked an era of scarcity across public schools. But this isn't the end of public education. Rather, it's a transformation, as schools adapt to compete in a more dynamic landscape where families hold increasing power. The growing interest in a la carte educational models such as microschooling and homeschooling underscores this change. Notably, many districts are reshaping their offerings to remain attractive in the face of declining enrollment. This is where microschools shine as a compelling solution, with the potential to help districts reduce public school waste in exchange for alternatives that are perfectly positioned to respond to families' demand for flexibility, innovation, and individualized education. As public schools grapple with the realities of peak enrollment, microschools are pioneering a future that prioritizes learner agency and family engagement, standing to provide families with access to more diverse and adaptable range of options. Data continues to prove that the real education revolution is unfolding at the state level. With an unprecedented expansion of school choice programs driven by parent demand, states like Florida and Arizona are leading the charge, offering programs such as education savings accounts to give families the freedom to choose the best educational path for their children. With 74 programs across 33 states and territories, nearly 40% of Americans now have access to innovative options that fit their unique needs. These programs are dismantling the old one-size-fits-all model, providing lifelines for families in underperforming schools, and empowering parents to find solutions that are tailored to their children's learning styles and values. As more states embrace these changes, microschools are poised to grow, becoming vital hubs of creativity and equity in education. Above all, these efforts reflect one shared goal: ensuring that every child receives a quality education that truly meets their needs. Parents, policymakers, and educators alike are shaping a more inclusive and effective future for learning. Linda McMahon has officially stepped into her new role as United States Secretary of Education, promising to shake things up in ways that could redefine how students learn and how schools operate. McMahon brings a fresh perspective to the table, one focused on streamlining operations, expanding school choice, and leveling the playing field for students seeking alternatives to traditional education. Her top priorities: protecting key federal education funding, boosting workforce-based learning opportunities, and giving parents more control over their children's education. But it's not all smooth sailing. Critics have been quick to point out her lack of formal experience in education policy, raising concerns about her ability to handle the complexities of public education. Some of her proposals, like shifting special education oversight to the Department of Health and Human Services and moving civil rights enforcement to the Department of Justice, have sparked heated debates. Supporters, however, are optimistic that her knack for efficiency and bold reforms will help to cultivate a more resilient system. Her appointment signals a dramatic shift in the United States education landscape, promising both opportunities and challenges. What is sure, however, is as McMahon settles into her role, all eyes will be on her ability to deliver results and spark meaningful change. The Trump administration's updated guidance on DEI policies has sparked fresh discussions in the education sector. While the new Q&A document released this week clarifies that schools can pursue diversity and inclusion goals so long as they do not exclude or discriminate based on race, it leaves many educators uncertain about compliance. This shift softens the strict language of the initial letter, but questions remain about enforcement. For microschools, this policy clarification may provide a unique opportunity to innovate. Thanks to their small size and flexibility, microschools are well positioned to explore new ways to balance compliance with the welcoming communities that they tend to cultivate. The recent legal challenge against proponents of the balanced literacy approach has reignited the debate over how reading is taught in schools. For years, this popular method, focused on fostering the love of reading through read-alouds and context clue strategies, dominated classrooms across the United States. However, with only a third of fourth graders achieving proficiency in reading by 2022, critics argue that the approach has failed millions of children. The lawsuit, Conley v. Calkins, claims that the curriculum's creators and publishers falsely marketed their programs as research-backed, leaving parents and students to suffer the consequences. If successful, this case could redefine accountability in education publishing. This week's Microschool Showcase takes us to Mars, a groundbreaking microschool in Huntsville, Alabama, that is redefining the way students engage with education by placing artificial intelligence and technology at the forefront of its curriculum. Meeting weekly while supporting homeschooling the rest of the time, Mars, which stands for Micro Collective of AI, Robotics, and Sciences, immerses students in STEM-focused activities like building robots, creating AI-written books, hosting podcasts, and exploring virtual reality quests. Founder Jennifer Wolverton envisions the school as a launchpad for young innovators, preparing them for a rapidly advancing world driven by AI and other technology. With its roots in Rocket City, Mars is perfectly positioned to inspire the next generation of tech leaders and aims to expand its unique model across the state of Alabama. If you know of a microschool that deserves a shout out, drop us a comment below and let us know about the work that they're doing. Thank you for tuning in to the Microschool Minute, your weekly review of microschooling news and events. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you'd like to support us, consider leaving a review. Until next week, happy microschooling.